Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Thursday, February 2nd, and I'm Blair Kirchhoff. We're a day closer to the Super Bowl, and today we're going to hear from some of the Chiefs. It's the first time coaches and players spoke to reporters since the AFC title game, and we'll hear the interview sessions with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Frank Clark, and Nick Bolton. We'll get updates on injuries and just the general frame of mind of a team playing in its third Super Bowl in 4 years. Okay, let's keep this short and get right to Andy Reid. After him, you'll hear in order Mahomes, Clark, and Bolton.
All right. Injuries. McCole Hardman will not practice today. He did a great job of playing in that game the other day. Very courageous effort, and my heart goes out to the kid because he busted his tail. He is hurting, though, today. Juju has some knee swelling. He won't practice. L'Jarius Sneed's in the concussion protocol. He won't practice. And then Kadarius Toney, he won't practice with the ankle sprain, but he's close and doing well. Actually did the walkthrough today. So, listen, we look forward to the challenge of playing the Eagles. Good football team, great football team. And, they've got tremendous talent. They've got good coaching. And it's a good organization. So, and I guess you don't get to this point unless that's the case. So that's they really do a nice job. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Coach, what are you thinking as far as Pat Evers-Helaire is concerned? In fact, we brought up Jody, but how close is Evers-Helaire?
Yeah, he'll practice, and we'll see where he's at. We're just taking it day by day and see kind of how he's feeling, and not only during practice but also after practice. So he'll work today.
And how did Pat come through the game, and where is he right now?
Yeah, he actually did well. A little stiff right after the game, but he's doing well now. So.
Andy, what are your conversations been along with veterans, all the newer guys on the team, to get them ready for what you're going to experience next week, all the hoopla and more media attention than ever?
Sure.
Been.
Yeah, so we talked about that this morning and really Monday. So just giving them a heads up on kind of what to expect, and then we dug into the game plan from there. But until you get there, if you haven't been there, it's hard to explain, right? You tell them, but they got to see it. But we're giving them a heads up on all that. So.
Coach, Nick Sirianni's in his second year. You guys saw them pretty early last season. How much have they developed since you all saw them up there last year?
Yeah, first of all, Nick's done a great job with that team, as has Howie Roseman in the general manager position. So, but they're way more familiar with the schemes. They've got a great defensive scheme. They've got a great offensive scheme, and the players, they're more comfortable with both sides of that. Yeah.
Andy, there's obviously a mix of veterans and new guys. I just wonder if there's a moment that you can pinpoint in the season where you can sort of see both a bond and sort of relationship developing that you felt was going to be obviously helpful and impactful.
Yeah, you had a feeling coming out of training camp. The guys seemed to get along. And as it went on, the season went on, you saw a growth, especially from the young kids, that back end, the secondary, Sky Moore, some of the young guys that were getting decent play time, you could really see the growth there. And it was hard from, I'm sure, a public standpoint to see, but we were seeing it from our side, just how they handled certain plays and leverages and so on. So, but I was impressed with that. And then the new guys that were veteran players that came on, they had to get used to a new system. So a couple of them have been in systems for quite a while, and so they had to get used to a new system, new way of practicing, and all those things that go with that. So, but they tried it, and they weren't afraid to dive in and try it, and they, it worked out for them, and they got better every week. Likewise, just more familiar with the schemes.
There's several guys involved, but who would you sort of pinpoint or commend being able to do that? Both understand, like you said, new scheme, where you operate and coach, and obviously try to help the other guys.
Yeah, the oldest one is Carlos. I mean, Carlos comes in and he's very, very smart. He's been in the league a long time, and so he was kind of looking around, not sure what was going on, and as far as like, what are these guys doing here? Way different than maybe what he did before, but he tried it. He bought in, and then, like I said, he's very smart, so he helped out George and the other guys the young guys, and yet fit in with Chris, which I knew he would because they work out together during the offseason, but fit in with the other guys. So.
I know when we talk about protecting the quarterback, you always talk about I can do a better job, right? The play calling part of it is certainly an equation, the offensive line, but how much is on the quarterback? You've got the two best sacking defenses out there. How much can the quarterback, or how much does the quarterback control, whether or not he's going to get knocked out?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you hang on to the ball against the two fronts, you're good chance you're going to get knocked down. However, both of them can move, which is a plus. So that kind of, I'm sure both guys will evaluate that and exactly where and how they can move, how much time they have to move. So, but they have control of that, and then to a point. I mean, if the play's covered, to me that's you missed on the call. If the whole play's covered and he has to move, run around, there's nobody open. That's different. So.
Coach, Juju specifically has just had a lot of important snaps for you this year. How optimistic are you? I know the knee's been a little bit nagging now, with practice in Arizona.
Yeah, so I think he will be able to do that. He's in a good place. The main thing is that we let that calm down. And right now it's doing great. So we're very optimistic right now. And his want to is all in there. So, but we'll just see where it goes.
Andy, over the years you've gone from being coach, general manager, and having a lot of personnel control and that. And I sense now that obviously it really is all in Brett's hands. How did you arrive at sort of that concept that I should let go of that? And how much has it just sort of liberated you to just coach?
Yeah, I mean, once I started doing that, you end up spending a lot of time doing that. And if you're going to do it right. And so it takes away from, you can't, it's hard to do both. And so I felt like I got into this because I wanted to coach. And on top of that, I've got guys around me that are really good. Brett Veach is really good. Dorse was good. And so let those guys do their job, and then I'll focus in on the football part. Something I really wanted to get back to and enjoy. And enjoy, I enjoy that part. So,
Coach, Sky Moore after the game said that there were times this season when he didn't want to be back there for the Huns because he had lost confidence. But then he said, if you guys had confidence in him, he should have confidence in himself, and now he feels like he's gained that. What does that say about him that he went through that, got over it, and then he was in that spot and came through in such a big moment?
Yeah, that's comfort's a crazy deal. So you're coming off a senior year, a college year, where you're the man. You're asked to do something different, and all of a sudden you're not the man, and it's tough. How do you handle that? And so I think that was an important lesson for him to fight through whatever anxieties he had at that time about being back there. And that will carry him. That's a foundation that he'll carry with him throughout his career. That I can, if I battle and really focus and work through something, I can do it. And I think that's important for young guys. And like I said, I mean, he did it, and he's more comfortable now receiving those.
Coach, to that point, You talk about having a lot of trust in your guys, even when they make mistakes throughout the season, especially specifically like Sky and Harrison. When you get to this point in the season, how important is that to have that trust and keep going back to those guys when you need them, at the end of the season?
Yeah, well, they've got to feel that. I mean, the worst thing is when, okay, I had a hiccup over here, and nobody's hanging with you. You're kind of out on that island. And so I think it's important that you support them, and as long as they're willing to get better, support them. And that's what we did. It wasn't just me. I mean, it was other people too. So we saw the talent, and they, with two different situations. I mean, Sky being the rookie, and Butt's been here a while, so it was just a matter of working through it.
All right, we're going to go right across the front row, start with Karen. We'll come right here and finish up.
Coach, next week, there's a lot of distractions, so how can you get any serious work in among all of the other obligations?
You can. Yeah, you can. Ted does a good job of kind of managing that, and then it's important that we have an office. We'll have an office. Each coach will have an office, so you can focus in on that. Players will have meeting rooms. They can focus in when they're in there. So yes, you can. But on the other hand, Karen, we want to get it done here. Get the foundation of it put in here, and then when we're down there, we can go back and review it. So that's what we're doing.
Andy, there's a lot of people that obviously are pointing out that you brought Jason in, but you brought in two other guys too. You got two guys that you brought into Philadelphia.
Yeah.
What do you remember from Brandon, Fletcher? Obviously, they're still doing it at a real high level.
Yeah, I'm very proud of those guys. I mean, I know them personally, so I'm proud of them. And they are tough guys, tough-minded. They're good leaders. They're fun to be around, and they're good football players. I think generally that now each one's an individual and has its own. Each one has their own characteristics, but that in general, I would tell you that about them. Great team guys. Yeah. And Reddick went to school, my son and both my sons. So one was coaching, one was playing.
Coach, specific to McCullough Hartman, how challenging was that for him, even with this extra time, to be available for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, so I think it'll be tough for him. I mean, I doubt that he'll make the Super Bowl. But listen, like I said, he was not going to be denied the other day, and it's a tribute to the kid. He pushed himself like no other, and he's a tough nut now, man. He's all smiles with you, but when it comes down to playing, he is a tough kid.
Andy, you mentioned Nick Sirianni earlier. He was here. Everybody's talking about you being in Philly, but he was here at one point. You've had discussions with him before you kind of arranged your coaching staff. What impressed you about him that maybe said, even though it didn't work out for him with the opportunity of your staff, that he might be a head coach and be successful?
Yeah, I love his personality. He's a guy that you can talk to and communicates well. He's got a fire to him that you appreciate and the players appreciate. A personality, is what I'm saying, a good personality that way. So, and he's smart. I had a chance to talk to him, and he's a smart kid. So, I think he's perfect for Philadelphia. That's a tough place, and he's a tough kid, and he relates well with the people there.
A couple things, Andy. We've got 2 weeks here instead of the normal one, but in order to install the game plan this week, did you still go through like a normal routine to come up with the game plan, or is it staying here overnight on Sunday night?
No, yeah. So we're doing the game plan now. So today would normally be Wednesday instead of this. Today for us is Wednesday, even though it's Thursday to everybody else. So But the one thing we gained as coaches is we gained an extra day to game plan. So, and you just got to take your time and make sure you're nice and thorough. We didn't rush into it, and so that's the positive. And then tomorrow is Friday. Will be like a Thursday, and Saturday will be like a Friday, and then we hop on the plane and go.
Andy, how would you categorize Marquez's season? He doesn't have obviously 1,000 yards, but he's been productive. He's been in every game, and obviously that was this game of the season and the postseason. Just how would you sort of describe what he's done for the offense and how he's been this season?
Yeah. So I think he's done a great job. He has had some huge catches for us at timely times of a game. I just big plays, and respect him for that. And great catches. These things weren't easy. I mean, he made some really nice grabs. So, and we're different than Green Bay. It's a different system than Green Bay. He's another one of those guys that's adapted and done it with a smile on his face. And so it's not something where you're pulling teeth with him. He's done a real nice job of accepting all the newness of the offense.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
How you doing?
Did you take any steps backwards after the game in trying to get your ankle healthy? Did you have to redo anything before you could go forward?
No, I don't think so. I just was generally sore, I think, from the game. And it was a physical game. I mean, my whole body was a little sore. So I don't think I had any step backwards or anything like that. I know, like, re-aggravation of the ankle, the little bit of pain I had playing with it. But other than that, I feel like I'm in a good spot.
Pat, on that last run of the game, that was one of your fastest runs, in your time in the league. What does that just say to how much passion and adrenaline was flowing through that moment?
Yeah, I think it was a big moment, obviously, so you have some adrenaline pumping. And I had to get the first down, and I had a pretty fast dude chasing me, and I've always said I'm just faster than the guy chasing me, so that was probably the reason I ran that fast.
Patrick, obviously, there's a historical significance going into this game with you and Jalen Hurts. That this is occurring in Black History Month. How much more special does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, to be on the world stage and have two black quarterbacks starting in the Super Bowl, I think it's special. And I've learned more and more about the history of the black quarterbacks since I've been in this league. And the guys that came before me and Jalen set the stage for this. And now I'm just glad that we can kind of set the stage for guys that are kids that are coming up now. And so it'll be a great game against two great teams and then against another great quarterback. So I'm excited to go out there and try to do what we can to win against a great team.
To follow up on what Irvin was saying, just you mentioned the future and all the players that have looked up to you, and I'm sure they also look up to Jalen too. What do you sense that the future going forward for black quarterbacks because of this historic moment for you guys means for the youth that are looking up to you guys?
Yeah, I think you've seen over time, it's whenever a guy like Doug Williams or Michael Vick or Donovan McNabb go out and play great football, it gives other guys like me and Jalen chances to have this platform and have this spot on an NFL team. And so if we can continue to show that we can consistently be great, I think it'll just continue to open doors for other kids growing up to follow their dreams and be a quarterback of an NFL team. And it's good that we have guys like Jalen on the other side because he's a great person and obviously a great quarterback.
Have you heard over the last couple of days, have you heard from Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray or any other Justin Fields, any of them? Have they reached out to you?
I haven't heard from them this week, but I mean, I know I talk to those guys every once in a while, and we have a lot of great quarterbacks in this league, and I'm glad that I'm a part of it. And we'll continue to evolve the game and set the standard the right way, and it's happened before us, and we'll continue to go after us as well.
Patrick,
You played against the Eagles last year. How has their defense changed since you saw them last year?
Yeah, I mean, they have a great defensive coordinator, first off. He does a lot of different things. Their scheme has evolved because of the players that he has. They have great all-pro, Pro Bowlers at every single level. And so they continue to add talent, man. And they have a lot of great players, veteran players and mixed with young players. And I mean, they're one of the and I don't know if they're number one, but they're one of the top defenses in the league for a reason. And they get after the quarterback, so it'll be a great challenge for us to go out there and try to have some success.
You mentioned last year just how one mistake in the second half kind of led to two mistakes and three mistakes. You had obviously a pretty unusual mistake in the second half this time. Did it enter your mind that one mistake is staying one mistake? Was that an off-season thing? Was it an in-game thing?
Yeah, I think it was just an in-game thing more than anything. It wasn't something I thought about in the offseason, but I think when you've been in some big games now a couple years in a row, you've learned from your mistakes. And I felt like the year before, I let one mistake kind of compound into 2, 3, or whatever it was, whereas this game, this last one, instead of worrying about, man, I made a huge mistake and we probably could have had a good chance of not putting the game away, but giving ourselves a big lead, let's not magnify it. Let's just move on to the next play, continue what you were doing throughout the entire game. And we didn't necessarily have a ton of yards after that, but I didn't make another mistake. And then whenever the time came, I was able to make a play in order to get us into field goal range.
Patrick, on the run, we were talking earlier at the end of the game. There's plenty of photos. I'm not saying you weren't, hit illegally. There's plenty of photos showing where you were. You were out of bounds when you were hit. But is there kind of an art form to maybe help and sell it? Was there a little acting that helps out? Because you're moving like you said, at a high rate of speed. That can be kind of dangerous. You throw yourself down like that.
Yeah, I think it was more the most pain I had was stopping. So once he pushed me, it would have been hard to put my foot in the ground and try to stop. So I kind of just I rolled through it. And you get over there with the heaters and the benches and people. That's where a lot of times people get hurt. And I think that's the reason that there's a flag for getting pushed out of bounds like that late. And so once I got pushed, I just tried to roll and try to not hurt people and not hurt myself. And the flag was called. I mean, I was pretty far out of bounds. It was probably the furthest I've been out of bounds before I've been hit. So I rolled through it. The flag was thrown the right way, and it got us into field goal range.
Patrick, you've mentioned on a couple of occasions that during the 19 season, it almost felt easy, like this is what happens all the time. 20 you guys go back, wasn't the same thing because of COVID, and now you're going to explore the spectacle that is the Super Bowl. How much sweeter do you think it will be just knowing how hard it is to get there, and how much more you think you'll enjoy it?
Yeah, no, it'll be awesome, man. And you get there the first time, and you don't know what to expect, and you're kind of going through a whirlwind of media days, and you have practice, but it's not the normal schedule you usually have, and meetings and trying to find time to watch film and everything like that. Whereas now you have a plan. Chad was with me last time, so I have a plan with him already. We're going to be able to go out there and do what we usually do throughout a week with the added stuff that we have to do. And so it's nice to have that experience before. I can teach other guys and help them along as well because even though it's the same team, we have a lot of new players. And so I'm excited to get these guys down there to get that experience. And at the end of the day, you want to win the game. So I just want to make sure those guys keep that in mind.
You mentioned teaching the young guys, but when you look back on 2019, what was that one thing that you wish you would have known that you were sharing with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just trying to give them a blueprint of how the week goes. Obviously, you can see it on the schedule, but I want them to see it from a player's perspective of how much stuff you have to do outside of football and how you can still manage that and get your stuff done the right way. And so the Super Bowl week special, it's a special week, but it's not about being down there for the week of the Super Bowl. It's about winning the game, and I want guys to keep that at the front of mind. And so enjoy it. Enjoy the whole entire week, but make sure you're prepared to go out there and play your best football as well.
Questions?
Guys, we're going to start with that.
Patrick, after playing with MBS for a full season now, what are the things you've learned about him as a player?
Yeah, he's extremely talented, man. He works extremely hard. He's extremely talented. Obviously, anytime you have a new guy, you have to get on that same page. I think y'all saw that throughout the season. But at the end of the day, what I saw was he was getting open, and I just had to make the throws. And so even in the last game, I feel like there was throws I made that weren't necessarily the perfect passes, and he was able to make plays happen. And he does a good job of not only running his own routes, but when he was kind of that last guy out there, he was helping other guys get in the right position. And so that's a testament to him studying the game plan and knowing the entire concept of the game plan and not just his routes.
I remember, Patrick, how high you were on Isaiah during camp. Given where he is now, just where do you feel like you had to help him get through this rookie season? And were there other veteran guys that you can tell that had an impact on where he is now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he was extremely talented and had all the tools and wanted to work. And I think that was a big thing. And as he learned patience and able to hit the hole and still get those extra yards, but having patience, you saw the run game take off, and then protection-wise, he's gotten better and better and doesn't make the same mistake. And so it took all of us to help him, and obviously I had some impact there, but I think Jarek McKinnon was probably the biggest impact for him, and he was willing to teach. And y'all see Jarek blocking and running routes and doing all and running the football, and how much of the veteran presence he is. But he's basically like a coach too, because he can coach those young guys up and get them in the right position as well. And it takes great leaders like that in order to have a great team. We'll go last two, Blair and then Steven. Go, Blair. Patrick, it's also the first Super Bowl with two former Big 12 quarterbacks are facing off against each other. And forever, the Big 12 quarterbacks has were in the NFL. So what is it about the style of the league in the last 10 years since that allows this to happen? Yeah, first, I know the SEC is gonna be mad because Alabama tries to claim Jalen as well, so they'll be a little angry about you calling him a Big 12 quarterback. But it's cool, man. I think you saw that 3 of the quarterbacks in the Final Four were Big 12 quarterbacks, and I think you just get past that stigma of you're air raid quarterback, you don't know how to handle NFL offense, and to see that guys can come from anywhere, man. I think you see that in all of football's history is players can come from big colleges, they can come from small colleges. Whatever conference that is, and they can have success. You just got to be willing to work and willing to learn. And that's something that I think you see between me and Jalen is you have guys that want to get better and want to do whatever they can to win football games.
Last two, Steven and then Dave.
Patrick, with Brady retiring, a lot of people feel like the baton passes to you truly to be the face of the league and the best quarterback in the league. Is that any extra responsibility to you now that he's gone and you really are the guy that most people look at as the face of this league?
Yeah, it's not. I don't think any extra responsibility. I'm just trying to go out there and win football games and win championships, and this is the biggest game of them all. And so it's not about being the face of the league or anything like that. It's about being the best teammate you could possibly be and doing whatever you can to win football games. And the other stuff kind of handles itself. And it's obviously a good part of it. If you're winning Super Bowls, usually you get a little bit more media and a few more commercials, I guess you would say. But at the end of the day, man, I just want to get in this building, be with my teammates, and go out there and win football games.
Last one, Dave. I know you've got a lot of pride in being from Texas, and this is the first time 2 quarterbacks from Texas will meet in the Super Bowl. Do you remember Jalen at all coming up here a little bit ahead of him? And then also, how did Texas go from being the state of Earl Campbell and Eric Dickerson to the state of Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's just in Texas, it's been a program of building football players up for a long time, and they're still the great running backs, they're still the great receivers, the great tight ends, whatever you want to say. But I think you've seen with just the way we're taught at a young age and 7-on-7 and everything like that, the quarterbacks are starting to even become more and more of a thing. But we've had guys like Drew Brees and Nick Foles and. Baker's in the league now, Jalen, me. There's been guys that have been in the league now, but to have this stage to show what Texas football is all about, I bragged all my PA guys because they claim that they have the best state in football because of the history. But I'm talking about the present. I think Texas has it going right now.
Thank you, guys.
Frank, you've been in the Super Bowl before. What is the best way to handle the preparation here and then what you know to expect next week?
Just keep doing the same thing you've been doing. Stay focused on the task. Just keep doing what you've been doing. Don't change nothing. Don't switch up too much. Don't invite any more too many more people. I know it's a Super Bowl, but just try your best to keep everything the same. At least that's what I'm doing.
Is that possible next week?
I think it is. I think our coaches do a great job of trying to mimic the environments that we are in at home. Meaning Kansas City, to try to keep it all the same. With family especially, I think that's kind of on us usually. That's usually the biggest distraction is families and, people pulling you left and right for events and different things. So I think it's imperative that you just stay focused on the task at hand. It's just playing football, still. We still have a goal. Everybody else may not understand that or, they may be on party timing, but, like the first Super Bowl, what I experienced, you got family going out, you got friends going out, you got teammates that's not required to be in the hotel going out. So, it could, have you thinking like, man, damn, I'm missing something. You're not missing nothing. You enjoy way, way much more after the game, when you win.
Frank, you guys played.
Just in generally speaking, what does Chris Jones do for the rest of the linemen as a whole?
Man, he does I feel like he just does a great job, helping out, making players understand the significance, the game plan, especially when it's, directed towards him. I feel like he opens up a lot of opportunities for a lot of those guys inside, especially when he's, causing so much attention to come his way, and things like that. We speak on it and we harp on it a lot, with the interior guys, we're like, yo, Chris getting this, this double team, or if we know the slide's coming this way, we got to take advantage of that, take advantage of a lot of things. So on that note, I'll be able to talk to you more about it after the Super Bowl.
Made about the trash talk that the Bengals had, and a lot of people want to write the narrative that that's why you guys raised your game. And I know all of you had your comments, you got the last word in, after the game, but as you look back on it, I mean, does that make you play better? Did you rise to another level because somebody else talked you guys down?
I feel like, to a certain extent, certain players did probably. If you know me, man, I kind of play the same type of way usually around this time. And it's like one of those things, like, you just got to know who you playing with. I mean, you got a team who's, speaking on certain things, and they speaking on running the AFC or different things like that to that extent. It's just one of those classic examples of, you talk the trash after the game. You know what I mean? That's kind of what we did, kind of let them have it. They deserved it, though. I mean, when you beat a team 3 times in a row, you do it decisively. You take the game away after we was up, 3 scores in the, first half, whatever you want to call it. You have the right to say those different things. You have and it's a game at the end of the day. You want to have fun with it. It's the season, and you want to have fun with it. It's slow to become one of our rivals in the season. Unfortunately, that's not the team, we're talking about no more. They got a whole nother year to wait. They got to watch us play some football now, man. So, it's about the Chiefs and the Eagles right about now.
Frank, you missed the Eagles game last year. You were hurt that week. What do you remember about the study for that and maybe what you saw in that game and how much different they are now? Because that was pretty early in the regime of the new coaching staff.
Yeah, it looks like Hurts. It looked like he's very, he's way more comfortable in the offensive scheme now. I believe this is his 3rd year in the scheme. 2-6 didn't play last time. I think they have 14 at running back. 2-6 didn't play at all. As we know, he's having a great season. I believe he's sitting at 11 touchdowns, like 1276, 1250 something rushing yards. At the end of the day, when you putting those type of numbers, offensively, the quarterback he's playing like a running back as well. So 13 touchdowns. At the end of the day, when you putting up those are like Lamar Jackson numbers in 2019, if you're not aware. When you're putting up those type of numbers offensively, running the ball, rushing the ball, it's going to open up a lot of other things. So in turn, you're starting to see the passing game open up for Jalen Hurts. You got a lot of screens and stuff with 88, the tight end, and number 6, Devontae Smith. You got it's opening up deep ball and shots to 11. It's doing a host of things. The offensive line is looking pretty strong as a unit. I feel like the tackles are playing some good football. Lane, he's playing some of the best football of his career. Veteran guy who's continuing to show what he can do. And like I said, man, this is Jalen Hurts' show. At the end of the day, if you can, stop what he's doing, you can possibly slow him down. But he's been playing some great football.
What are some of the challenges specifically for your position going up against the read option and a quarterback that runs the ball so effectively like Jalen Hurts?
Well, this is a college type of running scheme, the type of offensive scheme. And I don't mean like, the level that they're on. It's just you start to see 2013 Ohio State Buckeyes, Jim Tressel, that type of offense, where this type of scheme was getting introduced, early on. I kind of was a part of that group, where this was coming around, so I understand it fully. It's a lot of discipline type of things at the end. He's kind of coming out keying. If you remember back then, Jim Tressel, he used to actually always key to the ends. It was a defensive end. He keyed to defensive ends. Watch the defensive ends. They were disciplined. If they stayed on the line of scrimmage, read options, read zones, different things like that, just to slow them down, read zones with screen looks and stuff to see if they ran to the ball and things like that. So it was a scheme basically to slow down the defensive ends, to get them to play a disciplined style of game, and I feel like that's what we're going to get a lot of. We got a great offense, man. They're a very high power. They're a high-scoring offense, second to us. But at the end of the day, when you're able to do a lot of things that they're able to do, give a lot of mixed looks. It kind of makes it hard on the defensive line.
Mayfield, let's go to Nate. We'll come back.
Frank, there was a moment that NFL Films caught between you and Andy after Sunday's game. You said that you told Andy that you loved him. I just wanted to follow up and ask, why do you love Andy Reid?
I love him because of the man he is first, not the coach, the man he is. And I feel like if you know him from that standpoint, you'll be able to attest to what I'm saying. A lot of guys know him as a coach, and they only see the coach side of him. I've actually been fortunate enough to see the other side of him, where I've had a lot of conversations with him, from that standpoint, and just, helping me become a better father, helping me understand life a little bit more in some of my toughest situations that I have to endure over the last 2 years. And just sticking by me, understanding that, guys do have, some bad times. Guys do, F up sometimes, but, sometimes you got to have, those guys there. It's the guys there for those guys that mess up, are just important, for me. And for him, for me, having Coach Reid there, was big, because my father, man, he passed a few years ago, you know what I'm saying? I lost my father in the house fire a few years ago, so, the father figures, are thereof have lacked at times, you know what I mean? And having a guy like that, I spend a lot of time with Coach, you know what I mean? We spend, 70% of our week we at the building. We ain't here from 8 in the morning to 6 at night sometimes, in campus even longer. So I spent a lot of time with Andy, and we've grown. We have a great relationship. So, the things we ever talk about on the record and things we talked about off the record have shaped our relationship and, brung us so close, man. Feel like I'm able to talk about anything. And just, winning that game, man, was, one of those things. We kind of pissed it off the second year together, you know what I mean? We lost it, out in Tampa Bay. Last year, Bengals came in, got rid of us, and, just to be able to get back, my fourth year here is just dope.
Sam?
The referee, the head referee on Sundays, the guy that's called a couple rough and fast against you guys that I know you guys have disagreed with, how much do you factor in who's roughing the game to the style of play when you meet the quarterback?
I don't know. You know what I mean? The refs, their job is to call the game as fair as possible. I don't never look past it as that. If it is something else going on, all the politics within, I don't look at that. It's the NFL, man. Hopefully they call the game the right way, to the best of their ability, and that's all I can look forward to, man.
Kirby, last one.
Frank, this is sort of like a Michigan Wolverine type question. You appreciate the school, but Tom Brady is now retired, also another fellow Michigan Wolverine, and you sacked him in your career. What are your thoughts on him as he rides off into the sunset?
I wish him nothing but the best, but, like he said before, he had his one, That's it.
Thanks, guys.
Roll through Nick kind of quick here.
Nick, facing the Eagles, they do a lot of RPO, kind of reminds you of college, just the challenge to face that. You don't really face that a heck of a lot during the regular season in the NFL. You got to maybe go back to your college days.
Yeah, I think we had the ability to go against that kind of offense a little bit at the beginning of the season in Arizona, kind of very similar in times of getting the ball on the perimeter. But again, you don't really see that a lot. They put a lot of pressure on our DNs, edge defenders, corners, tackling, with pull schemes. And so, again, give them a lot of credit, man. They find matchups, man. They exploit them, and they do a hell of a job of it. We just got to come in and play hard.
Talk a lot about that. Have you noticed that is one of his strengths as a defensive end?
Oh, yeah, man. Frank is able to move in and out, kind of confuse the O-line a lot, when he's going to line, where he's going to end up being. And so him using that is definitely going to help us out.
Based upon your study so far, just how good is Jalen of knowing when to go and when not to, and when to throw it?
Yeah, man, I think he does a great job of trying to help extend plays. His eyes are downfield still, trying to throw the ball to his wide outs. They come back to the ball a lot to give him a chance on scrambles. And also just whenever he knows when to pull the ball, give the ball, and zone read football, test the perimeter again, put a lot of pressure on the DNs and our perimeter guys to make tackles out in space.
What advice have some of the veterans given you about dealing with all the distractions in the days leading up to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, man, just kind of control what you can control, man, and put your best foot forward in football, and then let everything else on the outside handle itself. And I kind of feel like that's been important just for me and a lot of the other young guys we got on our defense is just trying to knock out off the field stuff early and just worry about football from here on out.
Nick, you guys are in a unique position. I think you're the second team ever to start the season at the same place the Super Bowl will be played, and you get there. Did you have a moment there? I know you had to focus on beating the Cardinals and get the season going and everything, but is there a moment anybody talk about, hey, we're starting where we want to finish and everything that's gone on since?
Yeah, we kind of hit on it in training camp. We got have blessed with the opportunity to start and end in the same place, and it's about everything we do in between to get to there. And God willing, God helped us get there to that moment again, and we got another chance to go out there and compete. That's all we've been asking for, and just got an opportunity to go out there and play in one of the greatest stages in sports, and so we're excited about it.
Did you have a moment at all in that Cincinnati game where you got out again by a lead and they came back and tied it up? Is there anybody who had a here we go again kind of pity party maybe in the middle of it?
No, it's football. Playoff football, man. It's emotional roller coasters up and down. You got two great teams, two great quarterbacks going back and forth. Offenses that both score the football. And that's just the name of the game in playoffs. It's going to be up and downs. You really have blowout games. And so we knew it was going to be a dogfight from the get-go, and we expected it.
Nick, you guys faced the Eagles last year early in your career. More comfortable and better are you equipped to handle what you're doing now than you were that first month of your career?
Yeah, I actually watched that game already, and the game was kind of moving kind of fast for me. So compared to where I was then to now, man, it's a lot different mentally wise, and just having an understanding of the scheme and what the offense is trying to do at this level. So I feel a lot better coming in this matchup. Nick, what was it about Steve Spagnuolo's game plan that you felt made you guys comfortable and confident to go out there and have a good game last week? Oh man, I think we did a great job kind of mixing up disguises, kind of forcing them to hold the ball a little bit and give our D-line some time to get there. To start off kind of early and often, then we ended up with 3 sacks in the first 2 possessions. Kind of helped us kind of get negative plays and get them in second and longs and third and longs, and kind of put the matchups in our favor. And then Chris, man, best tackling football. I was dominant up front from the get-go, and I didn't stop all game. You were obviously a rookie last year. There's a reputation that Spagnuolo doesn't always trust or play rookies, but seeing how many rookies have played this year, what's been your perspective, given that you just went through it, of how Spags has sort of brought these young guys along? Yeah, man, since training camp, Spags has done a great job of just developing, challenging our rookies to try to get them to this point. Those guys have come in and been like sponges. Since they got here, want to learn, asking questions, want to get better, and trying to help the team get better. That kind of just because all of that was on the main stage last week. Brian Cook had a hell of a play. Then Jay Will got the interception. Trent almost had an interception. Jay Watt had an interception. Then offense, Pac is doing his thing as well. So a lot of different guys, a lot of rookies contributing, but it's expected. Watch those guys work since training camp and put their best foot forward. And it's just happened to show up on last Sunday.
Nick, Patrick's talked a lot about his first year when he got in as a starter. He thought, boy, this is just easy. This is how it's going to be every year. Win the MVP, go to the Super Bowl. You haven't quite had that kind of start, but it's still pretty impressive. AFC Championship game and now the Super Bowl. Anyone giving you any advice, maybe Patrick or anyone else? And are you taking some time to kind of soak it in and appreciate, you're getting to do some things that a lot of guys have whole careers and don't get to do?
Yeah, man. I think the best example is Carlos. I'm one of those guys who works real hard, man. Won one playoff game in 13 years. So you just kind of see like the work and everything's not really given to you. Again, we feel like we've been spoiled since I've been here. AFC Championship game, Super Bowl. So just seeing that guy and seeing what he has to work to get here, and seeing his story and learning from it, and make sure not take nothing for granted. And we just want to make sure to take advantage of every opportunity we have.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That'll do it for today. Thanks to George Howard for producing the show and to the SportsBeat KC production staff of Jeff Rosen, Scott Chasen, Randy Mason, and Monty Davis. Get all of the Chiefs and Super Bowl coverage in the Kansas City Star, kansascity.com, and in the Morning Sports Edition. That's liveedition.kansascity.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon with another SportsBeat KC, where we talk sports in Kansas City every day.